Hey everyone! Today I'm going to show you how to do this week's assignment, which is to make stationery. So stationery is a fancy word for matching cards, and stationery, became a thing in thousands of years ago in ancient Egypt when people would start making paper from papyrus and write each other letters. And now it's become kind of like a I don't know, I guess it's kind of like a posh thing to do is to have matching stationery. So I've been thinking about how nice it's been to receive letters in the mail and how I kind of stopped writing letters. So we're gonna make some today. And what I did was I just took a piece of 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. I measured it, cut it in half, and then I decided that I wanted to make folding cards, but if you wanted to just make flat cards that don't fold, totally up to you. So I took a half sheet of paper, scored it, folded it in half, and now this is ready to go. And for making my stamps, I'm going to show you two different types of stamp making. The first, so easy. So I took a rubber eraser. I think all of you mentioned that you have pencils at home, which is great. I hope that they have erasers, even if they're kind of beat up erasers, we can still use them. Maybe I'll show you from my pencil kit over here. So I could even use one that doesn't necessarily have a really good eraser anymore. And what I can do is I can take an X-Acto knife or any other kind of really sharp knife and just flatten that edge off. And of course I want to be so careful when I'm doing this. And then what I can do is I can take even just like another pencil and I can draw my design on it. Maybe I want to make a teeny tiny star. Here's one that I already did. It's a little grimy because I was using it. I wonder if you can see that. Can I show it up close? So I made a little heart using an X-Acto knife. So again, you want to be really careful if you're using a knife. But this is great. And what I can do with this is take a marker. And if I scribble with my marker on top of like wax paper or anything else, it's kind of a non-porous surface. And then I just dip that in there. What happens is it transfers onto my eraser. And it's just like a stamp pad. And so you can see, right, it transfers. Okay, so that's my first basic easy stamp. And you might be thinking like, okay, but I don't have any markers at home. I have here, looks kind of grimy. So this is some coffee that I drank like a week ago and I poured it into this little cup and then I let it dry out. So it got really concentrated. And then I went back and I added just a teeny tiny bit of water to it. And I'm just gonna kind of stir that up. And so this actually works and smells really strong. This also works as a kind of ink, and you can see that if I were to paint on top of the same surface, right, that color shows up pretty well. So I can also use coffee as an ink pad or as kind of my pigment to use. Some of you also mentioned that you have, oops. Got my guitar sitting over there. Oh dear. Some of you mentioned that you've got craft paint at home, which is really great. And I had this bag of potatoes, and there was one of them that just was like covered with all sorts of, gross, lots of eyes on this potato. So I don't want you to use food that you shouldn't be wasting food for this project is what I'm trying to say. But if you've got some potatoes sitting around that have gotten kind of soft and mushy and maybe nobody's going to be eating them, you can make a potato stamp. So what I did was I kind of drew my design out ahead of time. And then what I'm going to do, I could even like use a pencil to kind of sketch out my design. Let's say, again, that I want to make like a star. Whew. Okay, so I'm going to go in with my X-Acto knife. Oh, it's as far down as it goes. And being oh so careful, trying to make sure you can see me. Not to cut myself, I'm gonna carve straight down. And now I can go in from the sides. Again, just like when we did our linoleum cuttings, really trying hard not to cut towards my own hand. Uh-oh. Okay, I'm always trying to keep these videos like really short because I know you guys are overburdened, you have a lot to do. but then sometimes there's these moments where I'm like, oh, I wish I could edit that out. Okay, so here's my wonky looking star. So now what I do is I put a little bit of paint on a palette, and you can just like mush your potatoes straight down, but if you're trying to use multiple colors, you can use a paintbrush to actually just like apply it to your surface. If your potato's really wet, you can use a paper towel just to kind of like put it down first. And then you just use a stamp. Yeah, that star is it's a wonky looking star. But there we go. All right, so here's this stamp I spent a little bit more time on. And so I want to have two different colors, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go in with my green. I'm gonna apply that. And then I'm gonna switch paintbrushes. Uh-oh, I got some pink on this one already. And I'm just putting a really thin layer of paint on that surface. And then I'm gonna take my card, and maybe I wanna have like, I don't know, 2 pineapples on the bottom, 1 in each corner, totally up to you. And as you can see here, I've already kind of stamped some of these. Thought I'd give a nice little title for this one. But what you wanna do is end up with at least 3 matching cards. Extra credit if you actually send your card to somebody. I don't really know how to do extra credit during distance learning, but I think that'd be really cool. Okay, so we've got class on Tuesday. Let's kind of go over some stuff. If you're getting confused, I am here and available for check-ins. So especially if you're like, Randy, I got no art supplies at home. I don't have any potatoes. How can I do this project? I want to hear from you so that we can make a plan together, because I love problem solving. And I think that's it. Yeah. Okay, so your task is to make 3 matching cards. You don't have to use all of the methods. If you want to, you totally can, but you should make 3 cards that all match each other. Okay, I'll see you later. Have a good rest of your week.